video about the super resolution mode in Adobe Camera Raw. This feature started roughly around the 13.2 version of Adobe Camera Raw, and you won't find it in earlier versions, unfortunately. How this works is, I think, based on computer interpolation. So the software looks at the pixels in your image, and I imagine it creates more pixels, which gives the effect of a very much higher resolution image. Let's look at how this works. So I've got an image open in Adobe Camera Raw here, and to be able to access the commands that you need to get to the super resolution, you need the film strip mode activated. So that lives down on the bottom bar, and if you click on it, it either takes you into full viewing mode or film strip mode. I've made all the normal adjustments that I wanted to this image, so I've just adjusted the highlights and the exposure and the shadows and the whites and that sort of thing to get to a place where I'm reasonably happy with the picture. And to access the super resolution mode, I need to go down to my image in the film strip thumbnail, and I have to right click on it or control click on it. Right click for a PC, control click for a Mac, and this brings up a drop down menu, and I need to choose Enhance. When I choose Enhance, it says it uses machine learning to improve the image quality, and the super resolution says it doubles the image resolution, ideal for large displays and prints. It has a little clock symbol which estimates the completion time. Because this is quite a complex procedure, depending on the power and the processing power of your computer, it does take quite a while. So on my laptop, it's estimating it will take 5 minutes to complete. Obviously you don't want to sit here and wait for 5 minutes, so there's one that I've done earlier in true Blue Peter style. So I'm just going to cancel that, but this is how you get to it. So you right click or control click on the thumbnail, it brings down a drop down preview, and you choose Enhance. Enhance brings up this window, and you need to tick super resolution. And then obviously to make that work, you click on Enhance, and that whirs away for several minutes, and eventually you get another version of it down here next to your film strip thumbnail. But I'm just going to click cancel that for now, as I've done one earlier. Why do I need a super resolution image, you might be asking? Well, depends. The first reason probably is if you were going to make large prints. If you were going to do something for display in a large wall space, you might need a super resolution image that will print more comfortably at a larger size than the one that you have to hand. It kind of gives the ability that people who spend money on very high resolution cameras can have. So say your camera has around about 25 million pixels. This is an equivalent of having a camera with 50 million pixels. The other reason you might want it is if you need to crop into an image. So if you crop into a picture because the composition you have isn't suitable, or that the interesting part of the picture is just an element of the entire picture, you might want to crop into it. And we all know that when you crop into a picture, resolution drops for the entire area that you're using. So you really are, you're really throwing pixels away. So the image that you're left with is lower in resolution once you've upsized it. So if I now zoom into 200% on my normal image, on my untreated image, and I just work my way over to this little corner of the picture that has a bird guide stood on the kitchen worktop. You can see that the birds are reasonably clear, but you can also see that they are pixelated at the edges. The quality is starting to get to the edges of the camera's resolution, and the text is quite difficult to read. You can just about see what it says, but it's getting quite difficult to read. However, if I go to the second version, which has had the super resolution applied, and I go to 100% on this one because it's twice the resolution, so I only need to zoom into it half as much, and work my way down to the birds again. You can instantly see that I can easily read the text now. It says Guide to the Top 50 Garden Birds. The writing on the books over here is clearer. The images of the birds are much less pixelated. I can read other text around the kitchen, like the clock is much clearer. And overall, if I head back to the other picture, you can see the difference. Let me go up to the clock and have a look at that. See, it's much more pixelated. The text on the books in the basket is much more pixelated, and the birds have more jagged edges. I go back to my super resolution version, and the edges are much smoother, and basically things are much more legible. Let me go to another area. So let's look at the microwave. Super resolution version, I can see it's a Panasonic, and I can just about read the different modes on the microwave buttons and switches. Whereas if I go to my original version and just move over to the microwave, basically these words are nothing but a little pixelated blur, and I can hardly read them all. But back onto my super resolution version, and they're starting to be almost readable. Move around again, perhaps something a little bit closer to the camera. This is probably not really in focus, just at the front. If I concentrate on the fairy liquid and the detergents on the sink, on the super resolution, I can read them quite easily. It's bacterial cleaner. If I go to my ordinary resolution version, move over to the detergents, that is much more difficult to read. So to make most advantage of this extra feature in Adobe Camera Raw, you need an image that is sharp to start with. I have tried it on images that were taken handheld with slower shutter speeds, and the improvement is much less obvious. You need to have the sharp detail in your image to start with. If you have any camera movement or subject movement, then the advantages that you see are clearly not as distinct. So this image was taken on a tripod, and it was it's quite a slow shutter speed, but because of the tripod, it's stable and the detail is sharp. So you can really see the improvement. If it's not on a tripod and it's outdoors in bright light, then if you're on something like 250th of a second or 500th of a second, you should get sharp details in your picture, and that still will give you an advantage in this super resolution mode. So that's it really. It's very simple in Access. All you do is, to recap, you just go into the film strip thumbnail mode on Adobe Camera Raw, click on your original picture, control or right click to access the drop down box, click Enhance, tick Super Resolution and then choose Enhance. And this will take several minutes on most computers. If you have a really fast computer, it might take less than that. And then the new enhanced version appears. It tells you that it's working down here on the bottom, and then after a few minutes your new enhanced version will appear next to your original one on the film strip. Zoom into them, it will be 100% on your enhanced version, and you'll have to zoom into 200% on your original version to get them to the same image size. And just have a look at the details, see if you can see an improvement. When I first did it on my outdoor landscape photo, which was taken handheld with obviously a little bit of camera shake, the improvements weren't very real. But on an image which is sharp and which is taken in a tripod or with a fast shutter speed, you ought to be able to see clear differences between the sharpness and the details on the two images. Give it a go, see what you think, and it might be useful for large prints, or if you crop into an image and you need extra detail. An extra little thing for your print quality armory.